Tinder isn't just a dating app, it is a revolution. An app that changed how people meet, date, and fall in love. But behind the billion-dollar empire was a broken partnership. One of Tinder's co-founders sued her partner, accusing him of sexual assault, toxic culture, and gender bias. She eventually went on to create a rival company that would go on to become a direct competitor of Tinder. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. As Tinder exploded in popularity, the people who built it claimed that they were cheated out of billions. They took the fight to court, but just before they could testify, a massive payout silenced everything. And while chaos unfolded behind the scenes, Tinder was becoming a goldmine for scammers. One man used it to con women out of over $10 million and never spent a single day in jail. Lawsuits, CEO scandals, a platform taken over by fraudsters. Tinder's rise came at a cost. But to understand how it all went wrong, we first need to see how it all began. This is the untold story of Tinder. Sean Rad was born in the mid-80s to Iranian parents who had emigrated to the US in the 70s. He grew up in the wealthy neighborhoods of Beverly Hills, surrounded by tight-knit Persian communities. His parents worked in the consumer electronics business, but Sean wasn't interested in following their path. Instead, he was interested in the entertainment industry. During high school, he interned as a celebrity manager, a job he loved. He wasn't just in it for the money, he believed this was his calling. By 2004, at the age of 18, Sean enrolled at the University of Southern California. That same year, he launched his first startup, Orgu, an all-in-one messaging and video communication platform. He was eager to ride the wave of the growing smartphone market and saw massive potential in Orgu. But 2 years in, he made a bold move. He dropped out of college to go all in on his startup. Reality hit him hard. Orgu didn't take off as expected. Within a few years, Sean realized it wasn't going to be a success. But he wasn't done yet. In 2009, he co-founded Adly, a platform connecting brands with influencers to promote products on Twitter and Facebook. This time, he saw better results. Adly secured $10 million in funding, far more than his first startup ever did. But despite its progress, Sean felt something was missing. This wasn't his long-term vision. Eventually, he sold his stake and moved on. Around this time, he reconnected with Justin Mateen, an old high school friend. Sean was a builder and Justin had a sharp instinct for marketing and business. One could create and the other could sell. Together, they made the perfect team. Then came the night that changed everything. At a college party, they watched a friend struggle to approach a girl. He wanted to, but fear of rejection held him back. And that's when it clicked. Rejection was a real barrier stopping men from approaching women. They thought, what if technology could remove that fear? That was the moment the idea for Sean's next startup was born. It started with a simple idea. Justin and Sean wanted to create a dating app inspired by Hot or Not, where people could rate each other's attractiveness. But they needed an engineer to bring their vision to life. They brought in Joe Munoz to help build the app. That summer, in 2012, they decided to attend a hackathon sponsored by a startup incubator called Hatch Labs. The three decided to build their app there, hoping to secure funding. But here's the interesting part. Hatch Labs wasn't just any incubator. It was owned by IAC, a giant in the online dating industry. IAC controlled Match.com, OkCupid, and several other dating platforms. They practically had a monopoly over the market. Winning this hackathon could mean a direct entry into the biggest dating empire. And that's exactly what happened. Justin and Sean won the hackathon. Hatch Labs offered them $50,000 in funding, a strategic move by IAC to expand their dating empire. Initially, Sean wanted to call the app Matchbox, but IAC rejected it. It was too similar to their company Match.com, so they went with Tinder, a name that would soon redefine online dating. The first version of Tinder was simple. Users could like or dislike profiles similar to Facebook's thumbs up feature. But early users had an idea. What if you could swipe instead of tapping? That single feature changed everything. Tinder became the first dating app to introduce the swipe. They believed in it so much that they filed a patent to protect the technology. Thousands of new users were downloading the app and they started approaching college students in their locality. They launched Tinder in fraternities and sororities, where word spread like a wildfire. Suddenly, everyone wanted to use this new and exciting app to meet women. Tinder also did something brilliant. They hosted exclusive college parties with one condition. You could only enter if you had Tinder installed on your phone. This resulted in massive growth and app downloads. By 2014, Tinder users had swiped over 1 billion times, with the average user spending 1.5 hours every day on the app. TechCrunch even named Tinder Startup of the Year in 2013. But while Tinder was exploding in popularity, behind the scenes, things were falling apart. A battle was brewing between the co-founders. The real storm was about to begin. As Tinder's growth accelerated, things inside the company started to fall apart. In 2015, Whitney Wolfe, one of the co-founders and vice president of marketing, filed a lawsuit against Justin Mateen, her former boyfriend and Tinder's chief marketing officer. She accused him of sending her abusive messages, threatening her, and creating a toxic work environment. She also claimed that he stripped her of her co-founder title simply because she was a woman. The lawsuit sent shockwaves across the tech industry. It was ironic. Tinder, an app built to connect people, was now at the center of a scandal that tore its own leadership apart. As the controversy grew, Tinder's parent company IAC Group stepped in. While the investigation was still ongoing, they suspended Justin Mateen as a damage control measure. Eventually, Whitney and IAC reached a settlement. IAC Group paid Whitney $1 million in compensation, but no one admitted to any wrongdoing. The case was closed, but there were doubts about Tinder's internal culture. People began questioning whether the company had deeper issues that were simply being covered up. Despite everything, Whitney wasn't done with the dating industry. Instead of leaving it behind, she decided to build something of her own. A few years later, she launched Bumble, a dating app that looked similar to Tinder, but introduced one major twist. Women could initiate their first conversation with others. This small but powerful change reshaped the way women interacted on dating apps and made Bumble stand out in a crowded market. Bumble grew fast and soon became Tinder's biggest competitor. But this wouldn't be the last time Tinder and Bumble would cross paths. The rivalry would eventually escalate into a major lawsuit, dragging both companies into a legal battle. But before that happened, Tinder was about to face an even bigger crisis. Their own CEO was about to be dragged into the court. As Tinder struggled to move past its internal conflicts, the company brought in a new face, Greg Blatt, as its new CEO, hoping to stabilize things. But just a year into his leadership, another shocking controversy came into spotlight. And this was even more serious than the last. Rosette Pambakian, Tinder's new vice president of marketing, accused Greg Blatt of sexual harassment after a company party in December 2016. According to her, she tried reporting the incident to Tinder's management, but instead of taking action, they ignored her complaints. She even claimed they threatened to fire her if she spoke out publicly. In response, Tinder's parent company IAC Group launched an internal investigation. They concluded that Blatt had not violated any company policies or committed sexual harassment. But this decision didn't sit well with everyone. 2 years later, in 2018, Rosette was fired. She immediately accused Tinder of retaliating against her for going public with her allegations. The controversy escalated further in 2019 when Greg Blatt sued Rosette and Tinder co-founder Sean Rad for defamation, claiming they were staging a smear campaign against him. But before the lawsuit could reach a final verdict, it was eventually settled as part of a much bigger legal battle that was still yet to come. But Tinder's problems weren't just limited to internal scandals. California was about to hit them with another major lawsuit. You see, for a while, users had been noticing something suspicious: the difference in pricing between users. It wasn't easy to spot at first because Tinder didn't publicly display its pricing structure, but soon, users figured it out. Tinder Gold cost $999 for men under 28 and $1999 for men over 28. It was the exact same subscription, just at two different prices. And it didn't stop there. Some men over 50 were being charged nearly 5 times more than younger users. In 2018, a class action lawsuit was filed against Tinder in California, accusing the company of age discrimination in its pricing model. Tinder eventually settled for $17.3 million, offering compensation to affected subscribers and promising to remove age-based pricing over time. By 2022, Tinder officially eliminated age-based pricing, but by then, the damage had been done. Tinder has long been known for its aggressive in-app purchases and subscription-based model. But what many users didn't realize was just how deep this strategy went. According to allegations, Tinder deliberately reduces your visibility after 30 days, causing a drop in matches. And the only way to regain those lost matches was to upgrade to Tinder Gold. For $10 a month, Tinder would boost your profile and show it to more people, increasing your chances of matching. There were also claims that Tinder sent fake likes from spam profiles to make users think that they had matches. And if users wanted to see who had liked them, they had to upgrade to a paid plan. In 2019, the FTC sued Match Group, accusing them of deceptive business practices. The lawsuit claimed that Match.com falsely advertised guarantees, failed to assist users who disputed charges, and intentionally made cancellations difficult. While Match.com denied these allegations, they ultimately gained immunity in 2022, allowing Match Group to avoid an $844 million penalty sought by federal regulators. But this wasn't the only controversy that tarnished Tinder's reputation. In a completely separate incident, a transgender woman sued Tinder after her account was suddenly banned without explanation. She suspected it was because she was transgender. Around the same time, YouTuber Cat Black also had her Tinder account banned, fueling speculation that Tinder was actively removing transgender users. While Tinder publicly stated that it does not ban accounts based on gender identity, many believe its automated reporting system unfairly targets trans users, a claim that continues to surface even today. And remember how Bumble and Tinder eventually ended up in court? That legal battle finally unfolded in 2018 when Tinder sued Bumble for allegedly copying its patented swipe feature. Bumble in turn accused Tinder of trying to sabotage its business. The lawsuits dragged on for years until 2020, when both companies decided to drop the case and move on. But despite all these controversies, Tinder's growth was unstoppable. In fact, between 2015 and 2019, Tinder experienced one of the fastest growth periods in its history. Let's go back to 2015. Tinder was under immense pressure from investors to turn a profit and increase revenue. To meet these demands, they introduced their first ever paid subscription, Tinder Plus. For $9.99 per month for users under 28 and $19.99 per month for those over 28, Tinder Plus came with two key features: Passport, which allowed users to match with people anywhere in the world; Rewind, which lets users undo a left swipe in case they change their mind. But something else happened around this time. Users began noticing that Tinder's free plan was getting worse. The company flooded it with ads and capped the number of swipes per day, all in an effort to push people towards Tinder Plus. This short-term strategy pleased investors, but long-term, it frustrated users. Tinder was deliberately making the free experience unbearable just to squeeze more money out of people. Despite this, the board still wasn't satisfied. They wanted more revenue. So, in 2017, Tinder launched a second subscription tier, Tinder Gold. For an extra $4.99 per month on top of Tinder Plus, users got two additional perks: ability to see who liked your profile before swiping, a free monthly profile boost for increased visibility. But Tinder didn't just stop there. They introduced a third, even more expensive plan, Tinder Platinum. Priced at $20 per month for users under 28 and $40 per month for those over 28, this plan had one controversial feature. Users could send messages to people before matching. This was a fundamental shift in Tinder's mechanics. The app was originally built on mutual likes, where both users had to swipe right to start a conversation. But now, Tinder was breaking its own rule for profit. And this was just the beginning, because Tinder added even more microtransactions, including super likes. Lets users express heightened interest, super boosts, placed a profile at the top of local searches for 30 minutes, Tinder coins, an in-app currency used to buy perks like super likes and boosts. But this was nothing compared to what Tinder did next. At the end of 2023, they launched Tinder Select, an invite-only ultra-premium subscription for high-paying VIP users. This exclusive club offered features like 2 messages per month to anyone without matching first, priority placement in the likes you section, an elite badge to make your profile stand out, access to the most sought after profiles in your area. They didn't publicly disclose the pricing, but users said it was anywhere from $600 to $700 per month. Yes, $600 per month for a dating app subscription. And it wasn't even available to everyone. It was invite only. At this point, Tinder's agenda was clear. They would monetize people's desperation to any extent possible. But what if I told you there was one man who took things even further? Someone who didn't just take people's money, but also their trust, their dreams, and their entire futures. Let me tell you about the story of Tinder Swindler, a man who scammed women out of $10 million and walked away free. Hey guys, before we jump on to the next part of the story, I just want to say, if you have been enjoying these videos, make sure to turn on notification for the business trails. I'm working on some even bigger projects right now, and I'd love for you to be the first to see them when they're ready. I can't wait to share what's coming next. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Alright, let's get back to the story. He knew exactly how to sell the fantasy. Private jets, 5-star hotels, luxury cars. Every detail of Simon Leviev's life screamed wealth. To the women who matched with him, he wasn't just a date. He was a billionaire's son, a man who was living a dream life. And to make sure his victims believed him, he spared no expense. He took them to extravagant first dates, lavish dinners, private jet getaways, and luxury hotels. He made them feel like they were stepping into another world. And that was the trap. Once they trusted him, the story completely changed. He would tell that his enemies are after him and his bank account is frozen. He would request his date to lend him some money, which he would pay back once he would be safe and his accounts are unfrozen. But then, they had seen his wealth firsthand. Why wouldn't they believe him? So, they sent him money, tens of thousands of dollars. Some even took out loans, believing they were saving the man they love. What they didn't know was that this money was funding his next con. The jets, the hotels, the fancy dinners. It was all paid for by the last woman he scammed. By the time they realized, he was gone. But this time, he had gone too far. The 3 victims teamed up with a Norwegian journalist. Their investigation went public, and the world was shocked. Simon Leviev had scammed dozens of women out of $10 million. But here's the shocking part. He wasn't arrested for fraud. Since the woman had sent the money willingly, many countries didn't consider it a crime. Instead, he was caught in Greece, only for using a fake passport. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison, but walked free in just 5 months for good behavior. $10 million stolen, dozens of lives ruined, and he got away with it. After the scandal, Tinder was forced to make changes, introducing photo verification, safety warnings, and scam detection. But for Simon's victims, it was too little, too late. And while Tinder tried to restore trust, behind the scenes, a much bigger battle over its future was about to unfold. Tinder didn't just survive the pandemic, it boomed. By 2022, it was pulling in $1.7 billion a year, dominating the online dating world. But something felt off. The thrill of swiping had faded. Studies showed 60% of users felt burnt out, stuck in an endless cycle of matches that led nowhere. And behind the scenes, Tinder's original creators were still fighting their biggest battle yet. In 2018, Tinder's co-founders and early executives launched a massive lawsuit against the Match Group, the company that owned Tinder. They claimed Match had manipulated financial data to keep Tinder's valuation artificially low just so they could cheat them out of billions in stock options. Back in 2017, Tinder was growing faster than ever. The founders believed it was worth $10 to $12 billion, but Match insisted it was only $3 billion. This made a difference of billions of dollars in lost payouts. But Match Group didn't back down. For 3 years, the lawsuit dragged on until, just one day before the trial, Match Group made a surprising move. December 2021. Out of nowhere, Match offered a $441 million settlement. Far from the $2 billion the founders sought, but still a massive win. With that, the people who built Tinder walked away for good. Match had owned it from the beginning and the founders were running it. But now, it was all over. As Tinder grew, so did the backlash. Had it really made dating better? Or had it just turned one of the most powerful human emotions into a money machine? While some found love, millions were left stuck in an endless loop, feeling more lonely than ever. Maybe Tinder didn't change dating. Maybe it just exposed human nature. Talking about human nature, what if I say there was a CEO of a $157 billion company who was fired by his own board after spending a decade of his life building the company? And the craziest part is all of it happened on a Friday evening, while he was at home watching the Grand Prix. This was the CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman. Click here to uncover the full story.